What up, guys? It is Beer 30 somewhere, so it is time to do some question and answers for hydraulics. I've got a funny one for you today, and not to belittle the guy that reached out to me at all, because it's a funny thing, but it's one that I haven't really encountered before, so I just didn't think that it would. I got a little giggle out of it, but it's nothing that he did necessarily. But anyway. So Marcus reached out to me. He's got a Monte Carlo, and he decided to take initiative, pulled all of his setup out of the trunk, and was going to make a custom trunk and everything. And honestly, it looked good. I looked at it, and it looked good. With that said, after he pulled everything out and put everything back in, nothing was working. And I was like, okay, well, we need to start narrowing this down. All right, so it was a 2-pump setup, 8 batteries, and literally nothing was working. Okay, well, then my first thought was you have a Switchbox wire that your power source isn't doing anything. Okay, so I started to think that. All right, well then, you know, I hadn't FaceTimed him at this point yet, but I finally FaceTimed him because I just needed to see what was going on. And as it turned out, this is what kind of made me giggle about it, was that he had mounted his pumps and everything to wood. And for you guys that know where I'm going with this, the pumps and everything weren't grounded. It was just mounted to wood at this point. And which means that there was no negative side to his pumps, basically, which meant there was no negatives to his dumps, there was no negatives to his motors, there was no negatives to anything. So although his setup and what he had done, it was very custom and it looked great. Honestly, it looked great. But the problem is that he literally had nothing that was grounding everything to anything. So literally, it was basically like he was getting no power source to anything. So what I had him do first was I had him add a wire from where the blocks mount to the rack, let's just say. I asked him to add a battery cable going from there, and then, you know, ground it to the frame somewhere. And as soon as he did that, literally, you know, the front worked. The back didn't work until he did that in the back as well, which, you know, realistically, the way that we should be doing things is we should be mounting it directly to bare metal. The block should be mounted to bare metal. The solenoids should be mounted to bare metal. But in this guy's situation, you know, he had done a lot of custom work, and it looked, like I said, it looked great. But, you know, going back to the old saying, you know, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Well, with this, he had caused his own problem. And the problem is that, you know, you didn't mount it, you know, to any kind of bare metal. So we did that, and immediately, you know, everything was working correctly, you know, and although this isn't the most opportune way of going about it, and he will probably have issues with the pumps staying still and rocking back and forth with the wood and things like that. And we talked about all of this, and you know, but there is a way to do it, and all you have to do really is ground the pumps themselves, the blocks themselves. Realistically, grounding the blocks and grounding the motors is the way to go about it. So anyway, long story short, that's what we did, and all of a sudden his Monte Carlo was doing great, staying in 3, looked great in the trunk. It's just a different thing that we wouldn't normally see in our everyday, you know, type of you know, setups is having a pump mounted to wood. So anyway, long story short, that's what we got. Hope you like and subscribe this, and make sure that you watch out for the next videos that are coming through very soon.